adding a layer to this where we said competition, sport, skill. And this is something you've done well. And then we had a number of podcasts on not afraid to be a white belt again and learning to do all these certain things within the shop and beyond.
Yeah, the always be a white belt mentality is a really interesting one because it takes and requires the first step. Like, and there's a fucking million analogies and cliches of like, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And we used to run into this all the time where people be like, oh, I want to come train with you, but I need to get in shape before I come here. Like I heard that one the other day. One of my buddies was like, I was like, man, you need to start lifting weights. He's like, man, but I'm not strong. Like I need to go do something before I come train with you guys. I'm like, wrong. Just show the fuck up. But I won't be. I'm like, everybody sucks. Like that's why it's day one. The problem is, and I always love the, imagine you'll be a year from now when you started today. You'll be a year from now if you don't start, wishing you started a year ago.
Yeah, the 2 times best to plant a tree 20 years ago and today.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a pretty dope piece of oak that I have, and I sanded it down. We took it in and we got it printed. It'll be over my shoulder as one of the pieces that one of my favorite quotes was, a society will grow great when old men sit under trees, or what was it? Old men plant trees they know they'll never sit under, which is a Greek proverb. So society will go great when old men plant trees they know they'll never sit under. And I think about that all the time. And it's kind of a good analogy, like plant trees. Okay, like physically plant trees, yes. But at the end of the day, many trees are planted, whether it's having children, whether it's influencing people, whether it's, doing, podcasts like we're doing. You're doing something to influence somebody, you're planting a tree. And while you might never reap the benefit or see the effect, it doesn't stop you from doing it.
Yeah. And if you're searching now for an identity, I would suggest the route of a Jack Street or a Field Strong.
Or the Academy.
Well,
and
let me get there. So because I'll lead you there, John, because
I know you
24-year-old
lead me to drink.
Chris McQuilkin, post-athletic career, stumbled upon a little thing called CrossFit football.
Yeah.
And then it led to posting weights, seeing other people that are also, because we used to put heights and weights and humidity.
Getting verbally attacked. That was Dr. Booty.
I know.
Professor Booty would be like, the precipitation's 24 degrees, the temperature is this, the barometer, and he used to list all that shit.
Nerd.
And then people would be like, look at the nerd herd.
But yeah, then it was finding a community of like-minded individuals that appreciated the heavy, hard fast that was no longer available with sport, which then eventually led to traveling the world, and then now meeting other coaches to then empower the youth. And our Block 1 network is an amazing thing.
I always think of ourselves a lot like Mormon missionaries, where it's just two dudes
I
with
think
backpacks.
more like Cain.
Yeah, like Cain and Abel, or Cain from Kung Fu, where we'd fly into a place, we didn't check luggage. You take everything you're going to need for a few days in a backpack, because we had early on a bunch of luggage issues. So at that point, it was like, if it can't fit in a backpack, don't take it. Go simple, go anywhere.
Yeah, walk the earth, meet people, get in adventures.
Get in adventures. And show up to these amazing places and teach the gospel of CrossFit football. Teach the gospel of Power Athlete.
I also, and we brought a lot of John's former teammates onto the podcast, and we're not going to bring my friends on there, but there is often weekly calls or check-ins at least, and man, do not leave your former university team behind, because you still have that bond, that connection where you can get out of it, even though you don't get the opportunity to strap up or tie the laces up. They're still there, man. And you still got the memories, and I'll tell you, the wins are going to get more grand. Your efforts are going to expand. Your losses are going to get forgotten about. But at the same time, I'm sure you had some shenanigans out, JT. Like those stories are going to get even funnier.
Yeah, no, I mean hopefully all stories grow in magnitude.
Yeah.
I mean, if you give them enough time, it's like growing trees. You plant that seed, and all of a sudden it grows big. And I think that's what the fun part is. And a lot of times, maybe the stories are just fantastic. And as you're telling them, you're like, man, if I heard this story, if I wasn't there, I don't know if I believe this one.
Well, I've told a couple and then shared with teammates, and then my sport coach who had to deal with the repercussion, repercussions. I don't know.
Repercussions
of our school president, who definitely had it out for us, and just apologized.
Double secret probation.
Oh my God, it's so much fun. And now I'm telling, like, laughing up the stories, and he's still coaching and been through a few school presidents, but none were like that. Shake the fist.
Pledge pin.
Yeah, none like that. Now it's, walking on eggshells and being too safe. And he would, he would comment like, back when boys could be boys kind of deal. But
yeah, the woke movement has destroyed higher education, and for a lot of different reasons. Just there's no more shenanigans.
Like cheeky, funny shenanigans.
No, like shenanigans that are cruel and tragic.
But yeah, man, there's plenty to hold on to from this. Just because it may be your game day is over doesn't mean the experience, the flow, and the friendship has to be.
True. No, it's an interesting realization the day when you wake up. And I remember, the day of my retiring from the NFL. I remember I came home from working with the Patriots and came home, had knee surgery and kind of rehabbing and kind of thinking like, man, maybe I'll come back and play. And then all of a sudden your knee's not responding as well. And now all of a sudden it's almost a year to the day where now all of a sudden your knee is responding the way you need it to, and realizing you missed your window and having that like interesting realization of like something that I had a singular focus since I was 14 years old. And now I'm in my, early 30s has just ended. And like this has been the trajectory and really like the guiding North Star for everything. Like why you wake up in the morning, why you eat a meal, why you do this, why you do this. Everything is based upon the timing and this North Star of like I need to be ready to play and do the job by this date. And this is and you kind of have this schedule and you live off of this. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and realize I got nowhere to be, nobody looking for me, and nobody expecting me to show up anywhere. That is like, I don't know if it's exciting. Like in hindsight, I look back and I was like, man, I should have just gone and bought an Airstream and driven around America and like lived in national parks for a couple years just to like, decompress from what I did. But I had this really just kind of tragic feeling that I didn't want to be another behind the music of the NFL where like, oh, so-and-so was broke after 2 years, or, these, poor guy, did this job and, it took him 10 years to find, so when I got hit up by, Greg Glassman about helping CrossFit develop their technology and how to train athletes, I thought, this is an incredible opportunity. And, I remember as I was, my brother was pressuring me to go back to law school. And I had, my LSATs had since expired, so I had to retake LSATs and reapply. And I was kind of going through that process, and I thought, this might be interesting. I think this CrossFit thing could be kind of big, and decided to take a detour in that. I always wonder how differently my life would have been if I had just said, no, I'm going to go to law school, and I'll, go work with my brother and be a criminal. So I very well could have been a lawyer in Southern California working with my brother and his firm and doing that. But instead, here we are talking about Power Athlete Radio and influencing people, and got a really cool chance to go travel the world and influence tens of thousands of people.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's life's all about decisions. And one thing you can't do is it's not like a choose your own adventure where I can go back 50 pages and choose a different one. I think you have to, not look back and say, hey, this is the direction I'm going. This is what I want to do, and this is fulfilling. And I'll tell you this: when we started the podcast, I had never listened to a podcast and didn't really understand the power of a podcast. And it was actually Callie Hinsman who was like, these podcasts are going to be big. I know you think it's stupid, but this is something we need to do. And me trusting in her, we started doing it. And before, it was just a couple dudes huddled around a mic, and those early ones were really shitty. So to see where we came with, 500 podcasts to really evolve to this point is pretty neat. I think that's kind of why I liked Vin Diesel's speech in Knockaround Guys, 500 fights. And it's funny, I posted it on my Instagram.
We got our movie rec for today.
Dude. So I posted that clip on my Instagram because it was ironic and just kind of funny, coinciding with 500 episodes on podcasts. And I had like all these fucking people, like you shouldn't read the comments, but like people were like generally upset. Like this is the worst monogram or a monologue. And, any real tough guy that grew up in the streets would know this is. I'm just like, fucking settle down, Francis. And then that one dude who went to IMDb and was like, like trying to like nitpick things. And I'm like, first of all, get a fucking life. Just watch it, laugh about it. And like, it was like watching it 20 years later, it's kind of ridiculous. But when I saw that movie in the movie theater and he dropped that line, I was like, fuck, dude. Like, I mean, at that time, Vin Diesel was fucking cool.
Oh, yeah. I saw Triple X in theater.
Yeah, he was cool.
At midnight.